Hi, everybody. Welcome to our, I still have my reading glasses on. Welcome to our live stream. This is going to be a really good one. I think very informative. If you're new here, my name is Susan, and over here is Philip, my co-host. And we run this channel, the Neogenian Oculus, for the Neogenian community. We do all sorts of informational videos and some fun things, lots of live streams about all things Neogenian. And so if you are new from Morg's channel, which is where everybody comes from, welcome. And please say hi in the chat.
Yeah, it's always nice seeing fresh faces.
Yeah, so we see a lot of familiar names. It's really good to see you all. But please feel free to use the chat, introduce yourself. And thank you to everybody. Oh, somebody already said something. Hi, Becca. It's nice to see you. If you have those, if you are a member and you can do your little badge thing, chat, please do that. It's great to see those. Thank you in advance to anybody who super chats. We love that. Or
yeah, we appreciate your support of the channel.
Yeah, we really do. And also, if you're feeling generous and want to gift a membership to anybody who doesn't have one, that's always really fun, because members at any level can come to our members only streams, which we do usually at the end of the month. So we'll be back in a couple weeks to do our end of the month member stream after the public one. So
also really quick, I just wanted to mention, since we're going to be talking about some terms today, I wanted to mention that one of our community members, Andy, has his own channel called Exploring the Holos, and he's been making videos on some of these terms. So if you guys want an extra source of information, if you look up Exploring the Holos on YouTube, you'll see Andy's channel. And if you go and give him a follow, that'd be great too.
Yeah, I know Andy just put out, I share, when I remember to do it, I share them to the, please go to our Facebook page and follow it and try to keep up with it, because I'm trying to get that one going. So I when I remember to share Andy's videos there, and I know that Andy just put one out, I think yesterday or the day before. I just noticed, and I haven't had time to see that one yet. So hi, everybody out there. It's great to see you. And tonight we are going over terms that we realized, maybe we should actually define them, where you can ask questions. Hi, Sigma. Are you, I know I recognize you, but is this your first time coming? My memory is so bad, you guys. But is this your first time coming to one of our live streams? It's nice to see you.
Also, we see people in the Nexus Academy on Discord, which is happening tomorrow.
Yes.
And sometimes I have a hard time remembering which place I saw people.
And also, of course, at Morg's live streams, I'm familiar with a lot. So yeah, forgive me if I've actually spoken to you here before and I just can't remember, because everything gets lumped in. But yeah, good call tomorrow. That's my day tomorrow. But you'll be here with me. Yep, for that. So the Nexus Academy is in the Citadel Discord channel that is Morg. So if you are a patron, or hi Sam, if you're a patron of Morg's, or at any level, or a YouTube channel member at, I'm not sure which tier.
I think it's tier 2
tier 2 or higher, you get access to that, and that's on Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern time.
I'm excited for today, because I feel like these terms that you and I picked out are probably the most important terms to understand.
Hi, Andy's in here.
Andy right there.
Hi, Mark.
Exploring the Holos.
Yeah. So I don't know. Can people put links in, or maybe you can do it?
I think mods can.
Okay. So either Mark or Philip, somebody throw Andy's link to his YouTube channel. I can't do it because my studio is messed up. I can't actually type in a comment. So I can read the comments, but I can't do anything. So yeah, we realize this is probably a really beneficial, exercise to go through all of the terms and concepts
Okay. There, I put a link to
Perfect.
Andy's channel in.
Yeah. So it's wonderful to see other people doing content. And Lee, I checked out your video on Tangled, I think. I am so unfamiliar with that. I wanted to talk to you about it later. I'm not familiar with that platform, and I didn't understand that a lot of the AI that you were going over, but I love the fact that you're doing content too. And I know you also have a Medium. I have not been on Medium very often, but I think anybody in the Neogenian community, we should just keep trying to spread that news of where people can find videos, blogs, things like that. And Morg just popped in. Thank you so much for the super chat. And with that, why don't we just get going and start with our oh, nice. Andy's trying to upload every Friday. That's awesome. It's great to have a schedule. We try to, but because of work and family things, we've had a little bit of a few snags. There's Elise, another of our fantastic mods. And you guys all know our mods. They're fantastic. Thank you so much. Oh, and there's Angela just came in. So let's get going with these. Yeah. Please feel free to ask questions. That's what this is for. So if you're trying to hone in on an understanding of a particular, Ryan, gathering content, that's great. But please feel free to ask questions. So we're going to start with probably the number one most important one, which is...
And this is probably the word that the most people are most likely familiar with because we use it so often. Yeah. But there's still a lot of understanding that can be gained by talking about it at a deeper level.
Sure. And there's always new people. So you have to remember, we repeat ourselves a lot because we always have new people coming in. And these concepts are ones that, new people have to learn them and catch up. So there is a lot of repeating.
I think also with a lot of these terms, people say, I think I kind of get what that is, but it's kind of hard to grok it, as you always say, without having more in-depth conversations about what it is.
Yeah, and one of the ways that I know I will zero in on as accurate as possible definition of a term is to use it in sentences, use it in discussing with people, having conversations, because that way, when you can, use it in a sentence correctly, it becomes more solidified within you. And if you're a little vague on a certain aspect of whatever it is, you'll find where those sort of corners that don't feel quite right are. You'll find those edges and corners, and you can then know what kind of questions you need to ask to get that cleaned out and solidified. So,
and another great thing is there's so many resources on these terms because Morg has been super busy putting out a lot of material, 5 books this past year on all of this. And we included, Susan went and found the page numbers to a lot of these terms, so you can go straight to the resource and read it word for word from the text. So, but it's also great to have discussions about it like Susan and I are going to today.
Yes.
And thank you, Elise, for gifting a membership. I see
Spiral got it. That's awesome. Did somebody just came in? Spectral, did you just come in? Or no, you've just been saying hi. Hi, individual. Usually I type hi to everybody when I'm modding, but just one big blanket hi right now. So let's get going with Zeta.
Did you want to give a page number for them to refer to?
So you can look in the description. I've written them all down there. But if you come back and, if you forget and you come back, you can just check there. But I'll tell you right now, Zeta, one of the main places that it shows up is in book number 2, Metarationalism, where most of these terms come from. It's on page 173. It's throughout, but that was like the main introduction to what a Zeta is. So do you want to start with
Yeah.
The generals.
So we talk about a zeta a lot, or what a zeta is, quite frequently, because that's what you are. That's what I am. That's what Susan is. It's in essence what we are at the most fundamental level. So a zeta is a singularity. And we've talked about that a little bit in the Nexus course as we read through Metarationalism. But what does that mean? So a zeta is a singularity and a subjectivity. It's a complete set of possible frequencies, of all possible frequencies. And I think you have a graphic to hold up, don't you?
I do. I have a couple little graphics that I made.
Yeah, Susan is so great and creative. She made these little visuals so that you guys can see kind of what we're talking about.
This is one representation.
Yeah.
It's made to be actually on a computer. Which is why
Can you hold that just a little closer?
Yeah, here. So it's supposed to be sort of like a clear globe, a sphere filled with lots of waves, frequencies. Yes, it's actually what Philip just put through.
Yeah, it's our little emoji.
Yeah, so I just printed it out and cut it out. So just a couple things about this. It's not it's not that there's a bunch of these spheres literally in the frequency domain. This is just a way to visualize it. It's a collection of waves. It's however you want to do that. I have other visuals that I use for myself, but
I think the sphere makes it easier to think of it as like one unit.
Yeah, so that's one unit.
Because and then what a zeta is it's you can think of it as either a mind or a soul. It's what you are. So that is in essence what you are eternally. It is an eternal subjectivity.
I'm sorry, you guys. I have to do a coughing thing, so
I'm
going to mute myself. I need to know.
Yeah, and then I'll get to see your new quokka.
Right. Here, I'll put that on. That's what it looks like. But I need to know which mic is mine. So I'm going to mute myself. I think I'm the bottom one. Let me know if you guys can hear me.
Yeah. Okay. No, I think it worked. I think you're fine.
I'm sorry. I'm so congested right now. I'm probably going to have to do that a lot.
Yeah, it's that season.
Okay, good. I know which mic is mine.
Bridget just came in and said, I just logged in. You said you would answer my question. Did you answer it?
No, we just started. So hang on while I just cough real quick.
Yeah. Halo T, you must be a new person, or maybe I just haven't seen you before. So welcome.
I've seen you. I've seen you on Morg's streams, I think. So
yeah, welcome to the Neogenian Oculus.
You thought of the wheat, Angela. That's so cool. I use that sheaf of wheat with the little cord around it as one of my visuals. I really do.
And I always think of the ball of electricity that I put in the chat of the Nexus Academy, like as a GIF, which is very similar to the graphic that you have, because I think of it kind of like those waves, but at first I was thinking about it like a ball of energy or electricity.
Yeah. So we have our visual now of what a zeta kind of is. That is, again, what we actually are. It's just too loud here. I'm gonna have to. Are we too loud?
No, I think Spectre was talking about somebody doing renovations. Or something.
Got it. I really apologize for the state of my lungs right now, you guys. It's gonna be a tough hour. So let's just sort of go through it slowly. I know we repeat ourselves a lot, but I think it's really important. When you think of, because when we think of ourselves, we tend to have our body in there somewhere. First of all, remind yourself, the body is an avatar that we inhabit temporarily for each lifetime, but it has nothing to do with our eternal self. So the eternal fundamental, what we actually are, is a mind. You can use soul,
Yeah.
whatever word
And
like that.
your Zeta will connect to a multitude of avatars over a multitude of lifetimes.
Yes. Okay. So we have that. So this representation is what you're going to think of as what you actually are. Now, another, it should be obvious, but I'm going to point it out that there is no actual globe or sphere. There's nothing containing the frequency. That's just for the visual's sake, because in reality, it's the collection of all possible frequencies. That's what we are. So if you want to think about it as this loose jumble, you could do that as well. It just as, to have the most accurate definition.
Yeah. And there's also a triple aspect to a Zeta. So if you remember earlier when I was kind of telling you what a Zeta is, I said it's a complete set of all possible frequencies. And so a Zeta is also a oneness, an infinity, and a zero. Do you kind of want to tell them what that means?
Yeah, the oneness is that it's one complete system. It cannot be broken. It can't be divided in any way. And the thing that I like to think of, that I remember Morg told me once, would be like trying to remove a number from math, trying to remove the number 5. You can't do it. You need all of them. There's
incompleteness.
It's always all of them. I'm looking at questions, and we'll get to those in a second. So there's that. So it's a oneness, but it's also an infinity, because it's an infinity of frequencies. It's an infinity of possibility. It's, oh, thank you, Becca. And you just gifted a membership, and Raven got it. And it's also
a zero, because all of those frequencies balance to net zero.
Yes, they all net out to perfect zero. So a Zeta has this sort of triple aspect to it.
And when we say it's a zero, we're not saying it's empty in any sort of way. It's not an emptiness or an incompleteness. It's a balanced fullness.
Yeah, that's a really important point. And I think we've gone over all of the things that we wanted to say about it. The name itself is really cool, because it's like a Z, like, and I reverted to the Canadian Z when I lived there, and I actually like it better now. I used to think it sounded funny, but a Z is the last letter of the alphabet, and then it's followed by an A. So it's Zeta, not with a T, it's with a D. And that's the first letter of the alphabet. So it's kind of like an end. It represents symbolically an ending and a beginning, which is really cool.
Yeah. Do we want to do like maybe 3 terms and then answer some questions? Because these first couple terms are very intertwined.
We can, but let's just, I want to see what was asked, because okay.
Hello, Jerry Malor, or Jir Malor. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but welcome. I've never seen you before.
Hi, welcome. It's so nice. I love seeing new people here. Okay, so I noticed that, first of all, Bridget, we haven't answered your question yet. Bridget has an interesting question that we will get to when we get down to the Genesis Singularity. And then and where was it that I just looked at? You said you would answer. Did you answer it? No, we didn't. And then, but I thought you posted something else. Maybe not. And then Angela asked, can Zetas recognize each other in the source? That's an interesting question. It's not the I think it's the experience is so different from what we think of as experience in bodies, where we are separate, and I look and I recognize Philip is there. So I'm sorry, I'm so snarfly. So I think what you're asking is, you're this mind, these frequencies, And do you consciously recognize like information that would represent somebody else? And I think that's what you're asking. And I don't know. We experience obviously we have our internal experience. Thank you for the gifts, by the way. But whether I in the frequency domain can pick out somebody else, another Zeta's information and attribute it. I mean, I've never actually thought about that before. Interesting question. I
think Bridget had a question right before that one that said,
Okay.
if nothing contains our individual frequencies, what separates one Zeta from another? When you were holding up the graphic.
Right. Okay. I think what's happening there. Who asked that?
That was Bridget.
Oh, okay. So I think what's happening, because when I said we don't like actually think that it's like this. And so what's happening is we're trying to fit the way we perceive and experience the reality, the material realm, onto what it's like existing, which is how we exist, but when you're tuned into the frequency, because we're always there. This is like having a headset. We do not exist within the Holos. We are simply, I love the analogy of just, we've put on a headset, which allows us to run around in this realm, this domain, attached to sort of like a game being, a game avatar. And I don't know how I don't think it can corresponds the same way. It's sort of like me when I was trying to insist that you had to be able to have time in the frequency domain where there is obviously no time, no space. And I think it's one of those conundrums that you can't take what we're familiar with here and superimpose that onto something the same in the frequency domain.
A really interesting question, though.
Yes. This is the stuff I love talking about this stuff. I love thinking about this stuff. So, all right. So thank you.
Do we want to move on to the next term? Ryan
said, I've been looking forward to this stuff for a long time. Having a well-understood vocabulary is fundamental. Yeah, it is.
I missed that.
And we might actually make a formal video with graphics and words pictures with terms were spelled out.
Each Zeta is a complete system. They are logically complete. That's what keeps them individual units.
Okay, yeah. I never got around to that. It's not like they merge. It's not like you sort of, what would be like melt into another one. Yeah, good, Angela. One of the best things is to do exactly this, where you just ask questions about what was the thing we were talking about yesterday, and that I was trying to work.
I don't know. We talked about
so many things. Yeah. But it's really good exercise to just constantly hone your definitions, your terms, your understanding of these things.
Yeah.
And that entails thinking about it. And then you'll come up with a question. You'll be like, well, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense to me. What's the answer to that? And you search that out.
And I've noticed that we get a lot of questions about the next term, which is the source. And you can find that in book 2, which is Metarationalism, and you can find stuff about the source on page 199. Again, I think Susan has all the page numbers listed in the description of the video.
You can look below.
The source is the collection of all pure basis waves of all zetas. And Susan has another graphic here that she'll show.
Okay.
I love Susan's creative.
This is actually going to cover the next few terms, so we'll keep looking at it for a bit. Hi, Pooks. We are not goo. You're correct. We're not a blob of goo. This here, let me hold it up. This represents the frequency domain, which is coming next. But the source is a subset of it.
Which is eternal and necessary.
Okay, so this is what you're going to, this is what you want to picture. This is the reason I did this, and Morgan actually came up with it, how to represent it, because I had ideas, but it was really hard to do it. I was trying to do it just on a graphic with one side, and you kind of can't. But all you need to remember right now is the source is a subset of the frequency domain. And so the source is not in the Holos. Absolutely not. That is a given. The source, because the Holos is not eternal. The source is eternal. So there is a time when only the source exists, where there is no, okay, how does it get its own? No, the source is the subset. Sometimes, well, it's contained. No, that's not the right word. The source is the eternal component of, I have to stop looking at comments because I'm going to get distracted. The source is eternal, necessary, and there's times when it's the only thing that exists. When all of the zetas are in perfect unity. When it's not in unity, immediately there's more content. There's more complex waves. There's more adding waves together and making things that's when the fracturing happens. That's what this is. The rest of this stuff. But this is contingent. It exists because it's composed of stuff here in the source. But this does not have to exist. The source must exist.
And also the frequency domain, it's important to mention, is the realm of mind. There's no physical anything there.
No space-time on here. We're going to answer some of the questions because that's good. So how does it, Pooks, you wanted to know, how does it get its own subset? The reason I said subset, and I can see why that's a little bit confusing, because if it's a subset of something larger, how does that work? But it's really the only thing. It's sort of, I know, this is perfect. Imagine you have a set of Legos that you can create tons of stuff with. When you only are thinking of the actual Legos, that's the stuff that exists eternally. All this other stuff that you can build with it is contingent on those building blocks. So but the building blocks are, you can think of it as the subset of all the stuff that you can build with it. But then you can.
That's an interesting way of thinking about it.
Yeah. So I know, because I know the way I said that being a subset, because you can see it's small in the middle of the whole of all of the stuff. But these are all the possibilities that you can do with that. But then you can take all of that away because it's not permanent, and you still always have to have that. Did that help, Pooks? Let me know.
Pooks also wants to know the difference between the absolute and the source.
Got it. Okay. So we're getting there. So source, eternal, it has all the pure basis waves. Hi, Alberto. Then we can, and it's the only thing that exists when there's nothing, when there's no Holos, when there's no space-time. But when the fracturing happens and the waves mix and create new things, we have more of it. It's not in unity anymore. It's when we go from one oh, well, we're getting down to the Genesis singularity, but it's when we go from the one mind in perfect unity to particularized individual monads, zetas. Hi, Alberto. And then there is a flip side to this, which is the holos. So
I like the coin analogy a lot.
Yeah.
It helps to kind of understand that.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted to be able to show it like this, where we have one side of the coin, and then when the source is not the only thing that exists, when we have the fracturing, immediately you have, thanks Lee, immediately we have the holos, which is the whole
And that's
flip
what
side.
we perceive as reality.
That's what we can all tune into and experience as what we think of as reality. Again, reality is a really weird word for me. I was telling Philip the other day, because immediately I don't think of the holos. I like the word holos for reality, but most people don't know what it is. So they say reality.
When we were discussing this, we were talking about how Morg sometimes says that when we're talking about these things, we are at the edge of what you can do with mental gymnastics and trying to understand it.
Yeah, sometimes some of the things that you're contemplating is absolutely at the edge, like the why non-existence is impossible. You get to a place that's very, very close to the edge of what you can even sort of contemplate.
And it's important to note that the holos is still a mathematical space, but we're interacting with it and interacting with patterns that have arisen that we perceive as physical.
Yes. So to get back to the question about the absolute, we have the frequency domain, the flip side of the coin, which is the holos. And you've heard Morg talk a lot about the Fourier transform. So you can either express information as frequency or as space-time. Holos is space-time. And I was ineffable, no F's to give. I was going to mention, I don't know if it's helpful or not, but the Fourier is not just used for us. The Fourier transform is used in many fields. I know I heard about it first through my husband, who worked in seismic for Chevron, doing oil exploration, and they would transform the information into frequency to space-time and back. And I remember he was trying to explain it to me way, way, way back before I ever encountered this information. So what is the absolute? The absolute is everything. It's both sides.
All of it.
Everything that exists. So, but some of the things, remember, are not eternal. Only the source is eternal. Always, always, always exists. And the source is all of the zetas. All of the zetas, basis waves, the pure, like the Legos.
Yeah.
That each of us.
Necessary and eternal Legos.
Yes. So that's not saying we've mixed them and made anything with them. Just the Legos themselves. Okay, so one more time. The source is all of us, our basic frequency components, and then the rest of the frequency domain, which can exist and does for a long time, is when we have combined waves and created things, and it's gotten, we've evolved the entire cosmos, and that's what Cosmogenesis explains. That's the third book.
Did we want to talk a little bit about personal holos, or do we want to save that? Is that a little too confusing for today?
We can just, I was just going to say, let's save that.
Okay.
There is other things in the, connected to the frequency domain, but we're going to get to them. So
Yeah.
once
Just
more,
really quick, since I brought it up, just think of personal holos as like your dreams and stuff, and we can get into that more at a later time.
Yeah. So absolute is everything. It's probably easy to remember because absolutely everything that can exist would be in the absolute. All right. Okay. So I'm just going to put this down and look at some comments on this one. If I understand it correctly, there are parts of the absolute that is not the source. Yes, that is correct. Because the holos is not the source. The holos is the flip side of the coin to the frequency domain. You can tune in to the holos like we are now here, or you can tune into the frequency domain. So
once patterns arise and they start becoming more stable, you automatically have the holos side of that.
Yeah, once I mean, as soon as there is not the pure waves, as soon as the fracturing happens and there's diversity, you immediately have holos. It's and Bridget's question had to do with, is there anybody who is there any Zeta who's conscious during that? But we'll get to that when we get down to the Genesis singularity. So
And then Angela said, and we are only at the source for a short while before we refracture and start over.
Okay, good question. And see, when you ask questions like that, it's really helpful because I get a sense of how you're thinking.
Yeah,
what is your thought process? How are you visualizing things? Hi, orange, blue, and lavender. So when you ask if we're in the source for a short period of time before we create the holos, I think you asked. All right. Yes. Are we only at it for short? So think of it this way. Your waves, that diagram could also, you could use this to represent an individual Zeta as well. So Angela and everybody else, your basic set of Legos always exists and is always the part of the source. Always. We don't ever leave the source and take our waves and go somewhere else. And a lot of this has to do with trying to force a visual that will help you to cognitively understand this material, as opposed
kind of like the VR headset analogy that we use a lot.
Yeah,
the Holos is like putting on the headset and you're interacting with that interface.
Yeah,
but you're not actually going into it.
Yes, and what we are, even when the Holos exists and there's this other part, right? We've now created all these waves. The Big Bang has happened. Cosmogenesis has begun. We've all seen those videos of the beginning of the universe, and there's spectacular lights, and all the dust clouds and things happening.
Really beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful, but it always implies that there's an observer watching that with eyes to observe it. Which the first time I realized that didn't happen, it was kind of mind blowing. I was like, oh yeah, of course. I mean, it's so obvious, but you just expect. We're so used to just thinking that that there's always something somewhere experiencing it the way we experience reality. So anyway, good question, Angela. I hope that helped. Even when there is a holos, what we are, frequency, is always here. Our mind is always there, but we can put on that headset and now experience this realm, this dimension that has now been created. And it's sort of like now there's a video game, a VR game, and we have a helmet we can put on, the headset, and then we can go in and experience all of the frequency combinations in whatever way we can once we can link to an avatar. So in the beginning, there are no avatars for a long time. Remember that. We can't until we have the headsets available, right? With a character that can run around in the Holos, we don't experience it with any kind of senses.
And Pook says, so the source equals components and the absolute equals all, meaning everything, correct?
Absolute is both sides. It's the whole coin, both sides. That was Morg's thing, because I didn't know where to put the Holos on this side. And Morg said it's really the flip side. That was brilliant and very helpful. What are we up to? So we did source, we did frequency.
Zeta Configuration.
Okay, we did Holos, we did yes. What do I have for Holos? The inverse side of the frequency domain. It's what we perceive as reality. It's still fundamentally a mathematical space. But we experience a localized physical space. Every event, entity, etc. is localized within a specific location in space-time. That's why it's the space-time domain, whereas in the frequency domain we don't have that, because we don't have space-time there. Patterns in the frequency domain manifest as what we perceive as material experiences.
And it's also okay if some of this seems kind of confusing or hard to visualize, because it can be hard to visualize. That's why it helps having Susan's prop, the coin, and having that analogy to be able to picture it in an easier way.
Yeah, what we're trying to do is sort of build the visuals, whatever kind of works for you. And sometimes it takes many explanations, definitions, until it finally clicks. And that's why the asking questions is really good.
Yeah, and if you guys like the stream, we can do more streams on more terms, or even go into these terms even further.
Is Bridget, did you get your answer? The only separation with source is ignorance. There's actually no separation with source. That in a way, because that's fundamentally what we are. We are those frequencies. We are those Legos that we can do so much with. It's infinite potential, right? If you think of it that way, it's very helpful. We tend to forget. It's so easy to slip into, we exist mostly in the avatar mode. I didn't write down the 3 modes. We just don't have time today, but just really quickly, the avatar mode is just basically what everybody thinks of as existence, just your body and what you perceive and how you experience and how we think. And it's very easy when you're in this mode to think this is reality, this is what exists. And again, the first time I really thought about the fact that there are other animals who do not perceive reality the way I do.
Yeah.
That reality to me is not the one and only true reality. That
when I think of avatar perspective, I think of Donald Hoffman, where he says that existence is kind of like being born with the VR headset off or on, and it's not until what we perceive as death that would be like taking the VR headset off.
Yeah. And a lot of people spend their most people, how many people know and talk about what we talk about, right? You go to all your family, your friends, your neighbors, everybody at work, they look at you funny if you say this is not, this is not what truth is. This is how we perceive the Holos based on what we're allowed to.
Somebody might knock on the table and say, well, sure it is. It's hard. I can feel it right here.
Yeah. But also just simply recognizing, even when you tell people, like bees, for example, bees have different, bees and dolphins and even dogs. Yeah, not many people, most people don't even understand if you told them that, well, the way we perceive reality is not true. It's not the truth. It's just happens to be the way we perceive reality. But, go ask a bat what reality is like, or a dog.
There is no sensory organ for truth.
Yeah, but we still, and I said this in a video once that I think I made personally, we still, even knowing that, most people would still come back with the viewpoint of, yeah, but ours is the right one. Ours is the true truth, because we tend to think of ourselves as being the pinnacle of everything. But imagine this also, that there's extraterrestrial life, I'm sure, that has much more advanced perceptions, things that we can't
And one of the reasons
perceive.
I wanted to mention Andy's channel, Exploring the Holos, Andy just came out with a video talking about metacognition, which is kind of what we're doing right now. We're self-reflecting and thinking about thinking about thought processes, and thinking about reality, which is super important.
This is the most fun thing. These topics are the ones that I enjoy the most. I love.
Welcome, Lisa Woolley. Came in late.
Hi, Lisa.
Nice to see you. And also somebody else I didn't recognize, Awesome Space. If you've been here before, or if you're new, welcome.
Hi, Awesome Space. I missed you coming in. Yeah, did you guys come over from, Lisa, I've seen you I've said hi to you on Morg's channel. I know I've seen you. Awesome Space, did you come from Morg's channel? Are you new here? Because I don't think I've seen you before here. But again,
Blame Morg.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming. And if you missed the beginning, we are the Neogenian component of the stuff that Morg talks about. So if you are interested in that material and you want to be with the community of people who are, gravitating toward the Neogenian material, then this is the place for that. This is our little corner of YouTube. So what are we up to? We're going through terminology, and
I think we're up to Zeda Configuration.
Zeta Configuration. Okay. So the Zeta this is one of the ones that I had the talk about the other day. The Zeta Configuration is an easy way of talking about all the Zetas together as like a network mind. And I actually asked, if you think about it, how does that differ from the frequency domain? If you think about it, right? Frequency domain is all, the source is all the zetas, right? All the pure basis waves. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say the Legos a lot, because I think that that's a really good immediate reminder. It's your set of Legos, right? All the possible frequencies. And this is everything that when they're mixed during the time when they are. So how does that differ from the Zeta Configuration, which is all the Zetas together? And if you think about it, it's really fundamentally the same thing. So, hi, Sketch. But there's a reason why it's handy to have both. And because it's sort of like a difference in emphasis, focus. If you want to talk about all the Zetas together, it like individual, like if that's a Zeta, right? A complete, this is one Zeta, and you want to talk about all of them, Zeta Configuration is a really handy way of doing it.
Did you make that graphic, the individual
this one?
Zeta?
Sort of. There was a graphic with the waves, and there was another graphic with the little globe, and I superimposed it, and then I turned it blue. So I played with it.
It looks really nice.
Thank you. It looks much better on screen than it does when I had it in a video. It looked really good. So it's technically the same thing. But when you want to refer to, like you're in a discussion or you're asking a question, and you want to refer to all the Zetas together, Zeta Configuration is the term for that. The frequency dimension is when you want to talk about the contents of zetas. You're specifically focusing, emphasizing the frequency. Yeah.
So Bridget has a question about the Zeta configuration and says, is this correct? The absolute includes everything in existence, but the Zeta configuration is only all zetas. So inanimate objects are not part of the Zeta configuration.
Okay. Yeah. It's good to see you like working on that. Yeah. So the frequency domain, which is all of the zetas, but just from an individual point of view, as opposed to just all the frequencies from all of them. And the Holos is the Fourier transform. It's the opposite side of the coin. You can either like tune into the frequency or tune into the Holos when it exists, which is like most of the time. So inanimate objects, the way we experience them in reality would be Holos. Okay. Yeah. But remember that there's a frequency side to those things. So it's the absolute is when you want to consider everything that could possibly be. And there are times when there's no Holos. Or the frequency combinations that make up the Holos.
And Morg says the Zeta configuration is just one side of the coin in that diagram.
Yeah, yes, the Zeta configuration is not this side. This only refers to space-time, our experience with the headset on in the VR world. So you could, what I was saying before was that frequency domain is synonymous with in what it actually is with the Zeta configuration. It's just being able to look at it from a slightly different perspective. If you're talking about zetas, which are like, complete units, that's like me and you and Philip and Morgan and everybody, then Zeta configuration is handy for that. If you're talking about all the frequencies, which is exactly what zetas are. Mm-hmm. So it's sort of like looking at this as one item, one zeta, but there's all these waves in here. Those are the frequency contents. So when you're thinking,
Bridget also said, if each human and animal and maybe plant is a projection of a zeta from the frequency domain, what are inanimate object projections from the frequency domain?
Okay,
what are inanimate object projections from the frequency domain?
Lee just said your physical body is a projection. Our bodies are physical material, just like a cup, right? Just like your phone. And it's all of that physical matter is a projection from the frequency domain where it can be, everything is ultimately mental in nature. It's just that, okay.
And the Zeta configuration is emphasizing zetas, where the frequency domain is emphasizing the frequency.
Yeah. It basically comes down to that. Okay, in that Zeta diagram with the waves, if you flipped it, a dream would be on the back. Oh, did somebody ask about dreams? I didn't notice that. Yes, you have separate mind and body, but your body is made of mind, just like everything else, including cups and my necklace and everything.
It's a stable collection of frequency patterns.
Yeah, did somebody say that? Okay, so the chat's kind of moving fast. So, right, our bodies are projections of our zetas, but inanimate objects have no zeta. Okay, I see what you're... Okay, so everything material... I get where you're going. This is a good question. So you understand where like living, like where avatars come from. Everything else are created by the collective. Everybody produces. Okay. When you have a personal dream and you go to sleep, you create an entire dream world from your own mind.
That's what we were talking about earlier with the personal Holos.
Yes. So that's easy to understand. All of the if you went lucid in your dream, all of the things, you could sit down, you could drink soda, and all of that would be created by your own mind. All of the things that are inanimate objects, you could have little diagrams of the frequency domain. The Holos is like that, only instead of one dreamer creating everything from their own content, it's all of us together.
All minds contribute.
All minds contribute to it, which is why it's stable. So this is important. Your mind does not solely create your avatar.
Oh, so here Elise says inanimate objects would be collective unconscious content made of the same stuff of mind, but not minded or associated with a Zeta.
Yeah, there's nothing to link to. But what did Spectral say? Dreams of the B-side. Yeah. So that's an important point, is that I think it might be a common thought that it's our body. We must have created it from our mind, but our bodies are just like other matter. So it's created by the collective, the same as everything else.
I think this stream was a really good idea, and I think it seems like
I'm really happy.
Really enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm really happy because I love questions.
If you guys really enjoyed this and think we should do more, let us know, because there's a lot of terms that we could cover or even go into this stuff in to a deeper degree, and we can do more of these. So that would be great. I think it's very beneficial, and I know some of you, I can't remember who it was, but earlier said these streams have been really beneficial for my growth. I think it was Angela. Oh yeah, these videos and Morg's videos and books have been beneficial in my growth, and that makes me really happy.
Me too. Yeah.
So if anything that we do is really helping you guys, especially going through the terms one by one and really understanding what it is in its essence and how that works, let us know and we can keep doing these.
Angela asked a good question. Our dreams are personal experiences we have here in the Holos. Mm-hmm. So no, it's because, well, if your dream was an experience in the Holos that we all share, we would all be in in each other's dreams. Yeah. I can't experience your dreams. So when you dream, you are tuned into your own frequencies. So you're either here where we're with us and we're all experiencing the Holos together. We did Holos, right? We covered Holos. Yes, we did.
That was the second one, I think.
Did. When you dream, you're experiencing your own content, and you're the creator of what happens, which is why you can do all sorts of, crazy things in your dreams that, you can't do in the Holos. It's just that we're unconscious mostly in our dreams, and that's why we kind of get swept along with the stories that we're creating.
And also, since we're kind of nearing the end of the stream, didn't you want, you had a question of Bridget's to answer that we were waiting to get to.
Yes.
And Bridget says, do you have time to talk about the Big Bang, or did we run out of time?
Yeah. Okay, that's it. Oh, hang on. I'm so snorfully, you guys. I'm so sorry.
It's that time of the season, so no worries.
Yeah. Oh, it's just me. I'm just falling apart. Okay, so I think the last thing is the Genesis Singularity. Is that the last term? I think it is. So, and we're not too bad on time. The Genesis Singularity is the end of the old universal cycle. It's when we reach our final endpoint, and then the beginning of the next one. It's an ending and a beginning, which is so cool because we did the Zeta with the Z and the A. So it's when all the Zetas, when all of us are in this perfect symmetry, and we're completely functioning as one mind, as one unity, and there is no Holos, because the Holos, remember, is when we have things that are outside or combinations of individual zetas, then we get this projection, we get the other side. Mm-hmm. When we reach the Genesis Singularity, we no longer have that. We only have the source. That's the unique situation when there's no Holos. Now,
it has perfected itself into perfect symmetry again.
Yes, and I think Angela asked, I think one of the ways that you had said your question about being in the source for a very short period of time, and then we kind of go elsewhere, and I focused more on the making sure you understood we don't go anywhere. But I think part of what you were wanting to say is, so that's just a very, very short period of time when we are only the source, and most of the time we are spent in existence is with a Holos, having, because the cosmogenesis, the universal cycle is really long.
Yeah. And if you want to find more information about the Genesis Singularity, you can find that on page 294 and 339 of Metarationalism. Yeah. And then also pages 5 and 287 of Cosmogenesis.
So I think that hopefully answered Angela's question. Now, Bridget asked me, is there any Zeta or Zetas that remain conscious right after the Big Bang? So we've done the dividing thing. Is anyone conscious to witness it, basically? And I said, no, it's, we go to it's an unconscious process, the unfolding and evolution of, and this is cosmogenesis, right? The beginning of cosmogenesis. So that's the fast answer. We don't actually know for sure that there's no Zeta retains consciousness. I love this subject. I would love to know answers about that. I tend to gravitate toward unconsciousness, because when I think about the one mind, I go to a very sort of romanticized viewpoint.
Yeah.
So because I've contemplated this a lot, because it's very profound in the way that you're in identity. You're the only thing that exists, this one giant mind.
Yeah, Bridget also says, what about the source core? I don't know if she meant source code.
I know, I think core.
Is it conscious to witness the Big Bang?
See, the source, each set of Legos, each Zeta, complete set of frequencies. The source is the collection of all Zetas contents, right? The pure basis waves, just the individual building blocks. It's not different from each. It's each individual, but together. And when they're in unity, it's the same thing, right? So I get a sense from you, and I'm not saying this is wrong. I'm not saying this is bad. I'm trying to kind of think the way you're thinking so I can answer you properly. I get the sense from you that you really, really want some kind of external observer that's observing, that's witnessing all of this. The source core is an advanced speculative topic. Oh, okay. I don't know what the source core is. But anyway, never different. Oh, that source. Oh, yes. The one, right. Okay. Wow. All right. We'll have to add that one. Yes. The one kind of where if you slice off, if you have the stack of the circles and you're slicing them off.
Oh, okay.
That's where that one is from. Okay. It's been such a long time since I've read that.
Yeah. We'll have to do another one of these streams.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. The source core. Okay. Yeah. You're ahead of me because I'm only reading Metarationalism again, since I've read it ages and ages ago. I'm just keeping up with where we are in the Nexus Academy. I haven't visited that material again, but I know what you're talking about.
Which we are having again tomorrow.
Yes.
Wants to miss out on that.
Put a plug in for tomorrow. But I still get the sense from you that you want there to be some kind of witness. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just, but it's, I think, maybe causing a little bit of a hiccup. I tend to, like what I said when I think sort of romantically about it, and again, this is just me, I'm thinking of this one giant mind, which is me, basically, and Philip could say, and it's from Philip's point of view, Philip would say, oh, and it's me, Philip. Mm-hmm. But then we're that's it. I'm alone.
Yeah. Bridget said, yes, I would like an observer. I don't know why, but I think it is sad if there's no observer.
Right. Then that's what you said to me when you messaged me. We can talk about that some more. I love the idea of that. But that doesn't bother me. That doesn't bother me so much. This is why I haven't gone there. I think for me, I go to because I think what you want is someone to observe the beauty of the Holos when it's created, but observe it through avatar eyes, which no one does not exist when that happens. And when you think about that, that's again one of those kind of like, oh yeah, moments, right? Kind of like when the tree falls in the forest and there's no entity that has apparatus like ears that can experience the sound. So the sound waves exist, but nobody's experiencing the sound. And yeah, that can be kind of sad too, right? The waves exist, that's it. So it's kind of similar. The creation of the Holos is beautiful. But okay, think of it this way. I don't know if this will help you, but kind of like, so what? Because we can imagine it. And also, when we get to a certain level, I'm sure we can sort of experience that, but not at the time that it happened.
Through like an informational way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the record exists of the event. So, anyway, I think it's just that not at the time when it happens, there's no physical being that has eyes to actually witness it in that way. But it's cool to think that it's us.
And then Bridget said exactly what I was wondering. Once we're advanced, we can experience the beginning again.
Oh, well, once we get to where we are probably not even in avatars anymore, I mean, who knows what we'll be able to do. I think a lot of time, I think what happens with us is that we spend a lot of time, because we're stuck in the now, what's available to us now without, yeah, you get sad when you think about it too much. I don't. I get excited. I get sad about that loneliness when it's only the realization that there is no other giant mind over there that I can visit. And that's why I break into all of the particular parts so that I can learn about myself through all of me expressed as Philip and you.
The multiplicity of points that become one once again.
So I'm going to say one more thing and then we should probably log off, but Bridget and anybody else that's sort of feeling that way, I get it. I get what you're saying. I think we tend to feel sad at the time where we are now about something that we will no longer feel sad about when we advance to another point. And it's sort of like, I'm sure there's times in way back when we were sad about something that we would no longer feel sad about now that we have advanced to where we are now. So I would try to not dwell on that, because at some point it's not going to be an issue. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't dwell on the sadness, because it's something that, the answer to your questions is the last section of Cosmogenesis. Oh, is that I wrote that down. Is that the
page 287?
Page 287, is that at the end? Yeah. So, anyway, those are all my thoughts on that, but really good topics.
Excellent stream.
Yeah, really good questions, good comments. And I hope everybody's getting a deeper understanding. I hope that the little,
we like when you guys
little
ask
graphics helped.
like that, because it shows us what your thought process is and what you're interested in.
Yeah, definitely. I like when I can get a grasp of how someone is thinking, and I can sort of perceive it, and I can get that, I know where you're coming from. And I apologize for the times when I'm thrown off and I can't quite get it. And sometimes you have to keep asking until we can help you through it. So, Zeus, that's so kind. You can do this kind of stream as often as you want. I do like having the direct talking back and forth.
Bridget says, could we request what terms to cover next time? I vote for universal cycle.
Oh, that's the entire Cosmogenesis. Sure, we can talk about that. We've talked about some parts of it.
Leave us some comments and we'll pick out some terms that you guys want.
Yeah. Mysterious stranger, hello. I like when we admit what we just don't know. Me too. And there's a lot of areas, a lot of parts to the reality. The part that Metarationalism is my favorite stuff, and there's a lot of things that need to be looked into. And I'm so excited for when this catches on and more people start thinking this way and solving some of these things. Yeah. So mysterious stranger, so much better than priests and preachers pretending they have all the answers. Well, they just proclaim things. They just say, this is what it is. And if you don't do A, B, and C, you're going to suffer. And it's ridiculous. I'd much rather really, talk about what is possible, what is rational, I'm glad you made it too, Andy, because I know often you're busy and you can't. So it's so nice to have you here. Just once more, for anybody who came in late, Exploring the Holos has a YouTube channel. And if you're not, and Andy makes Neogenian content videos, and if you're not subscribed, I think Andy said he's going to be really working to put one out every week, which is terrific. I'm working on the script for What is Metarationalism for a solid video. We will have one on terms. where it we don't interrupt and go to comments and things where, hopefully in the future. But I do like this format as well. So we can be doing this again in the future. There is no member live stream after this, but there will be one at the end,
towards the end of the month.
Toward the end of the month. And for anybody who came in late, our member live streams are once a month, at least at the end of the month, usually. And it's for anybody who's a member of the channel at any level. It's, I think, $2 a month to join, and we really appreciate the support.
Yeah, and thank you to everybody who super chatted and gifted memberships. That really helps.
Thank you. We had a bunch of people who did that. Yes, I'm gonna mute. I muted earlier, but I'm muting now, and Philip will talk.
Yeah. Hey, before you go, mute your mic and have Philip say something. So I guess that was to make sure you were muting the right thing. But also, yes, don't forget tomorrow is the Nexus Academy. It's Susan's day, but I'll be there as well. And we're continuing Metarationalism. So that will be good as well. We do that every Sunday. And then the Sunday after next is Mark. We kind of have a rotating schedule of presenters and going through the material. And that's another great place to ask questions, and we can discuss all of these terms and things. So that's exciting.
Well, I was muted almost all of that time. How did he sound, Morg?
Was there an audio issue?
It was great.
Thanks.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. So, thank you guys for coming. This was great. And I really enjoyed it. And everyone's input was wonderful. Oh, Orange, Blue, and Lavender said you sounded muffled. Is that true?
Huh.
See,
I wonder if it was when I was talking at the same time as you.
I'm gonna mute again.
Yeah. Does this sound muffled? Everybody is saying okay. Philip sounds quiet.
Oh no. All right.
Was it like that for the whole stream, or did it just kind of come in towards the end? Okay. We'll try to work on that.
Okay. Lisa, it's, I don't know where you live. East Coast is 7:00 Eastern Standard Time. Part of the time Philip has Susan, quieter when Susan is muted. Oh, you're quieter when I'm muted. Interesting. Don't worry, you're good. Mork said, okay, don't worry, you're good. All right. Good night, everybody. I think this was really fun. I like this format. Okay. Oh, you'll message. Okay, good. Bye, everybody. See everybody tomorrow in Nexus.